Hey, Drew, what are you doing at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday morning?
Well, let's see here.
Especially if you're living in like LA, that general area.
If I'm in LA, I'm probably just waking up from my Coke binge.
Well, good call. How would you like to go watch USC play at 9 a.m. local time?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. Good job there, scheduling Pac-12. Welcome back.
You know, Early, sometimes them football boosters will provide your family with a car or even house if you keep nice and quiet about it. They're gonna do what now?
Welcome to the place where if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying is a way of life.
Just keep it down home, cuz.
Where degenerate gamblers can congregate in peace.
Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money, yeah, yeah.
Where screaming at 20-year-old kids on TV is just another Saturday.
Every fiber in your bone, and you take it and you beat the piss out of them. I'm talking about beat the piss out of them. Let's go whip their ass. Let's go.
Where game days don't end until the Rainbow Warriors say so.
It hits the upright. Oh my God! It hits the left upright. It hits the left upright.
They are the bagmen that Danny Sheridan never found.
I went to him with a strong-ass offer.
And it all comes to you with a splash of bourbon on the side. Woo! This is the Friends of the Program podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into yet another episode of the Friends of the Program podcast. I'm Brad. He's Drew as we get set to get you going for November college football. And as weird as it is, hey, it's time for the Pac-12 to start. It's only November. Yay!
Hi, guys.
Glad to have you along.
Come on in.
We'll talk about last week, a couple of pretty big upsets around college football. Looking at you, Michigan. Some really good games this coming week. Really, the first time all year we've had a coast-to-coast slate of football games this season. That'll happen this coming Saturday, the first full Saturday of November. A few top 10 matchups, like top 10 ranked against top 10 ranked teams. Some top 25 matchups. So a really good slate of football out there for everybody to consume this coming weekend. And speaking of consumption, Drew, what you got tonight, my friend?
Tonight, we are going to go back. This past week was a good weekend for me. So we are going to go with some Eagle Rare. We've had it on the show before. It's a solid bourbon. It is. I don't think I can make a bourbon that's on ration like my bar. I can't do that because it needs to be readily available. So it's still going to be Woodford. But if I get to dive into it's kind of hard to find this guy. It's going to be the Eagle Rare. Solid bourbon if you've never tried it.
So I have. It's actually not my favorite for whatever reason.
Really?
It doesn't hit me right. I'm back to the local TX because it's what's at the cabinet today. Because I drank to the good stuff, celebrating the hell out of LSU getting their ass whipped by Auburn Saturday. And then I was also feeding alcohol to the neighborhood parents as they were bringing their Rugrats around to grab candy.
Yep.
So I kind of ran out of a lot of stuff the other night, and we're recording this on Wednesday the 4th. Last night was election night, so I was also drinking during election night. So
sure, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I need to make a run, but this is what was left in the cabinet, so that's what we're going with tonight.
No, Halloween is always a good night to get. I think I ran out of larceny, and I even had to touch into my makers just a little bit, little bit.
I made some lady, one of the moms around here, a White Russian the other night. And one other mom just wanted a straight thing of whiskey. Some dad wanted some tequila that I had. It was a good night of just throwing out booze.
Stuff. Kids get the candy, parents get the booze.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll start with looking back at last week, and I got to start what happened in Ann Arbor. Early kickoff game. Michigan State comes in a 3-touchdown underdog on the road at Michigan, and Jim Harbaugh lays another egg at home against a rival. He's now 1-6 combined against Michigan State and Ohio State at home. He now has a losing record to Sparty since coming back to Ann Arbor as well. I think he's 3-4 now against Michigan State. First win ever for Michigan State's new head coach as the leader of the Green. What do we make at the Khaki Brigade, my friend?
Oh, khaki Jesus. Oh, Lord. God help you.
And it was a celebration in my house, by the way.
Absolutely. No,
Okay.
I know that the Mrs. The First Lady of Austin was very, very happy. I know she had her green and white on. I actually have my cousin who lives up right around that area. And she texted me whenever game started kicking off. She said, "You're pulling for the green, right?" And I went, "Yes, ma'am, I am." This is just another brick in the wall. Because one of two things can happen: either you're Nick Saban and you're never going to get fired unless you murder a baby on the field, and then it's just a reprimand from the SEC. Or you're building a bridge to get fired from a school. It's one of those two. Those are your two options. This is another brick in the bridge to get from hired to fired, in my opinion, for Jim Harbaugh. And I don't know how many more bricks he needs until he is fired, because it's the real question to me at this point is who gets fired first, Tom Herman or Jim Harbaugh?
Tom Herman.
I'm sort of leaning that way, but you've got to think it's going to come for both at the end of this season if things continue on this path that we see.
So we'll get to the Tom Herman thing in a minute. Even after the victory last week, there's a lot of smoke around here about Tom Herman being gone at the end of the season. I look at Jim Harbaugh and I look at Michigan. And I've always thought Michigan fans have an overinflated sense of self when it comes to that program.
Absolutely.
Sorry, you haven't won anything since, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s last time they won a
They
title?
think they're Alabama with a sterling academic record.
Yeah. Okay, you've won a bunch of games. Congratulations.
Sure.
You're always flipping back and forth with Notre Dame on who's got the most wins.
That's fine.
Fine, whatever. You don't win rings. You don't even win the Big Ten ring. So
You don't win your division.
Don't ask me to take you seriously when you haven't even shown up to the Big Ten championship game
I was
yet.
about to say, they haven't even been to Indianapolis, have they?
No.
Do they even know where it is?
No.
Okay.
No. So don't ask me to take your football program seriously until you reach that bar. Let's baby
get
step
that bar.
this.
Let's
Okay?
just get to the game.
Beat Ohio State for a change. Let's start there.
Here's the thing, and let me interrupt you. This team right here, while not relevant in the Auburn-Georgia series, beaten Alabama 2 out of 3 years. Not tooting my own horn as an Auburn fan, but they've beaten their biggest rival 2 out of 3 years.
Went to the SEC title game just a few years ago.
We're
literally one win away from being the first 2-loss team in the playoff.
Yeah.
People forget they were ranked number 2 that year going into the SEC title game.
Yeah.
As a 2-loss football team.
Uh-huh.
So that's my point and Michigan fans love to look down on schools like that, but I'm sorry, you haven't accomplished crap.
Yeah. What have you done lately?
Bo Schembechler's not coming back to the door.
No.
And by the way, respect to what Bo Schembechler did and how he built that program.
Absolutely.
Didn't win a whole lot of championships for you guys.
No.
If you actually go and look. So let's calm this. I don't think Michigan's going to get rid of Harbaugh yet. He's still one of their own. And if you understand Michigan,
a Michigan man.
Yeah, it's all about being the Michigan man and how you do things. Now, eventually losing to Ohio State enough is going to end it. Losing to Michigan State up there to a Michigan fan should be grounds for dismissal most days, most years. Like, Michigan historically wins 3 out of 4 against Michigan State. In the last decade, Michigan State's dominated that series.
Dominated.
It's not even really that close. I think it's 7-3 or something like that in the last decade.
Yeah.
And Michigan State, by the way, has actually been to the playoff and won a Rose Bowl in that time. In different years. That playoff appearance was not the Rose Bowl year. No, that was different years. So,
Mark D had that program humming.
The pressure that I see on Michigan is actually more internal. I know they like to talk about the Ohio State rivalry and blah, 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 blah.
It's not a rivalry right now, though.
It's not. A hammer and a nail is not a rivalry.
Exactly.
But you got to start at the ground up, and that starts with Michigan State. Mm-hmm. And all credit to Michigan State for bouncing back after losing to Rutgers.
Absolutely.
At home. I think 7 turnovers against Rutgers in that football game, right? But that defense Whew. They
That
played
equals
lights
stout.
out.
No,
They
that-
played lights out football the other day.
No, you're absolutely right. And the score was 27-24, but if you dive into the box scores, it shouldn't have been that close, at least in my opinion. Michigan still put up 452 yards of total offense and threw for about 300. But on the ground,
Rocky Lombardi also threw for 300 for Michigan State.
exactly. No, the offense was able to show up. The real thing that kind of jumped out at me, let's see if I can find it just so I make sure that I get everything correct on there. There it is. Was the Michigan State was able to get off the field 7 for 17 for Michigan on third downs. If you can get off the field with that team, as long as you can stop them inside the red zone, you're going to do well against the Jim Harbaugh offense.
Well, and looking back to what happened last Friday night, you have to ask the question, is Michigan actually any good? Because their win, not looking so good now. Minnesota goes to Maryland and loses in OT, 45-44.
Mm-hmm. No, and the other thing that I'll bring up is that the guy that really was the backbreaker for Michigan against or the ace in the hole, if you will, for Michigan State was a kid named Ricky White, freshman out of Marietta, 3-star recruit this past year for the state champions out of the state of Georgia. Actually beat my hometown, my high school alma mater for the state championship last year. But a 6'1" freshman was able to put up 201 yards receiving on 9 catches with a touchdown. A freshman, 3-star for Michigan State.
Well, and that's the other thing. Michigan State kept throwing the ball deep and either getting big plays or flags.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, that Dan Brown defense, as good as they looked against Minnesota.
Which, going back to that Minnesota game real quick and that Michigan or Maryland game, Talia, whew.
Yeah.
26 of 35 for 394 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. It was interesting because whenever it came out that he was transferring, it was one of those things of, he just can't beat Mac Jones, obviously. That he's just not as good as Tua. Nah. Bra was ready to play and can play. Nick just wanted Mac Jones to play more than Tulia. And it was very apparent in that game against Minnesota because, don't get me wrong, Minnesota's a good football team. They're going to win games this year. It just so happens that they ran up against it and missed the extra point in overtime. That happens. It sucks. It happens.
But you should have been in that situation.
Exactly. No, your defense has to get off the field at least one time. One of those times. And they couldn't do it. So just not enough rowing in the boat. And it happens.
We'll stay in the Big Ten, and a team that is 0-2 that at the beginning of the season I don't think anybody had on that radar. Penn State loses again, this time to Ohio State, 38-25. Not unexpected that they lost to Ohio State, but James Franklin finds himself in an early hole 0-2, probably out of the Big Ten East race already.
Yeah, no, this is...
especially with a short season.
Absolutely. No, with only 8 games being played and who
7
knows?
of them actually counting to the schedule.
Yeah, exactly. 7 of them counting towards going to the Big Ten championship. And who knows if somebody costs just the right way, and then all of a sudden your entire program shut down. Sup, Scotty?
Looking at you, Wisconsin. How you doing?
Yeah, sup, Scotty?
Which, by the way, sidebar, if they cancel this week's game, which they already have with Purdue, and if there's one more canceled, they're ineligible for the Big Ten championship game. They won't have enough games played.
Yeah, correct. No, and this was whenever we looked at the bylaws, and we said this last week. This is just repeating what I said last week. When we looked at the bylaws, I could have told you that Wisconsin was going to have to cancel this week's game as well, just because of the 21 days. Now, after this, I think they might be able to get back a couple of guys, maybe some fraternity brothers, get back and can play and block and, just some warm bodies. But no, if you get a position group sick in the Big Ten right now, you're canceling 2 ball games.
Yeah.
Which is why I can't believe that you just don't see a bubble tunnel going from the Ohio State football weight rooms straight to the stadium, just because you have to be that careful. Because if anybody catches this thing on your team, you're done. You're literally in a MASH unit without the walking wounded. Everybody's just walking with a cold, for the younger kids for the most part, unless you have yada, yada, yada and all that. But no, you have to be so very careful, which is why schools that don't have these cases and have been testing and have accurately been testing and still don't have any cases really deserve an extra win. Just because of how much disruption it causes. Look at Florida, look at Vanderbilt, look at, Ole Miss had a couple of cases and got down to the point of almost having to cancel their game with Auburn and then a couple of other the game before that. I can't remember who they
Arkansas, when they lost Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When they lost to Arkansas. So, it's just a really weird place to be. But going back to the original point, we've sidebarred. Penn State is in a very, very untenable situation. They've got to get a win this weekend. I think they will. I don't.
Sure, you froze, buddy.
Spread. I froze?
Yeah, there you go. You're back.
Oh, there I am. But no, they're in a very untenable situation. I think they get the win. I don't know if I agree with the spread really, but I think they get the win this week. But I agree. I think they're out of the Big Ten race already.
Oh, absolutely. I want to stay in Ohio for 1 second.
Sure.
Just to give props to my boy Luke Fickell.
Your boy did it again.
Remember, this is a matchup of last year's AAC title game.
Correct.
Where Memphis won and went on to the Cotton Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You need to start thinking about Cincinnati as not just the Group of 5 representative in as the Big 6 bowl games go. You need to start thinking about them as a dark horse to make the playoff.
Let me throw this out at you. Cincinnati continues on their trend. Auburn beats Texas A&M. Is Cincinnati going to the playoff?
I think so.
I think so too, because Georgia's going to lose to either Florida this week or to Alabama. That's just going to happen. Stetson Bennett's not that good of a quarterback. I'm done with that conversation.
The only saving grace is somebody in the Pac-12 goes undefeated. That's really it.
Yeah. Or Notre Dame beats Clemson this weekend.
Yeah, because then even if they
lost, even if they lost in the ACC championship, they would have that clout card of going, well, we're just 1-1 against Clemson.
But if everything falls into place, Cincinnati, if they keep rolling, because they're winning, they're not just winning. They're winning convincingly.
They're doing it with style.
And they're doing it against pretty good teams the last few weeks.
Yeah. No, SMU a couple of weeks ago, Memphis this past week. They've already taken down, I believe, Arkansas State. Didn't they play Arkansas State?
I think so. Yeah. I'm going to pull up the rest of their schedule real quick here.
But I mean, if Notre Dame loses twice to Clemson, and Texas A&M somewhere loses to Auburn, maybe, or if LSU can right the ship like Coach O promises he can do, which after watching that team, good grief, did not expect that. But I think you're looking at your other playoff team because I don't see anybody that can challenge Cincinnati. I know you've got their schedule up.
Their closest win so far is 14 points over Army. Everything else has been 3 touchdowns or more. Mm-hmm. They get Houston this coming week. Mm-hmm. And then it's East Carolina. UCF on the road is their toughest matchup.
Yeah.
That's their toughest matchup.
Actually, and they get tough close.
Yeah, they have their last 3 games are on the road too, at UCF, at Temple, at Tulsa.
That's no fun.
It's not easy. for Cincinnati. But if they run the table,
here's the thing: if they can do those style points on those 3 road games, I don't care if it's with a crowd or not.
Yeah. All right, want to start working our way south of the Mason-Dixon line now. We'll go to Auburn first. I don't want to spend too much time on it because honestly, it's
Auburn didn't spend or LSU didn't spend too much time in it.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Auburn goes 48-11, biggest win over LSU in program history, most points scored against LSU in program history. And the thing that still is crazy to me, all 48 points for Auburn were scored in about a 31-minute span.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, if you watched the first quarter of this game and went out and mowed the yard or took the kids to ballet class or did something else and then came back, you had no idea what happened.
Oh.
Because it came quick, fast, and in a hurry. After nothing. Couple of quick scores, one on a scoop and score for Auburn, and then 2 nice drives. And then the third quarter happened, which I don't think LSU still knows what happened there.
Yeah.
But no, the Auburn defense was on point all day. And after going back and doing the rewatch of that game, because that's what I do, it's the first time I've ever seen a Ed Orgeron team throw in the towel.
Yeah, they looked like they gave up in the fourth quarter.
And it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that the players looked like they did. The coaches also looked like they did. If you go back and watch, Brad, I can't remember exactly when. I know it's in the fourth quarter of play, but with about 10 to 12 minutes left, LSU has it 4th and 5 from the Auburn 50 or from the 50-yard line, and they punt. By that time, it was 48-3 or 42-3 or something like that.
Yeah, it was 48-3 at that point.
But again, it's 4th and 5 from your 50. You're not losing anything.
Yeah.
And LSU decided to punt, and at that point, it was nothing but academic.
Yeah, arguably the best game Bo Nix has played as an Auburn Tiger.
Oh my gosh.
300 yards through the air, 3 TDs through the air, led the Tigers on the ground with 81 rushes. The thing I saw from Bo Nix is he actually stepped up before scrambling as opposed to trying to go immediately out to his right or to his left and just run. He felt pressure and stepped up, and then when he scrambled forward out of the pocket. Anthony Schwartz with a big day, really helped by that 89-yard touchdown catch, though, for him.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, best Auburn's looked in quite a while. They get the off week now. 3 out of the last 4 are winnable. I know A&M's on that schedule the last 4, but
you're playing them at home.
You get them at home, and I still don't trust Kellen Mond.
No, I don't either.
The other 2 are what? Mississippi State on the road and Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
And then Bama, which
that's a towel. Throw it in.
I'm going to need more of this. Yeah. But, I mean, at that point, I think after Auburn lost to South Carolina, you and I are fans and Auburn people, if you had told 7-3, probably would have taken that.
Which actually upsets me more about that South Carolina game because Auburn had a chance to win that one at the end. And if somehow Bo 8-2,
with losses to Georgia and Bama on the road, I mean that's
I can't. Okay. I already wrote those up as L's anyway.
Yeah,
so
okay. It's fine.
And with this offensive line to do that, I hate to say it, and I have my own opinions of him. But I'd have to give a lot of kudos to Gus Malzahn at that point and Chad Morris for being able to piece it together.
The evolution of the offense actually has been very strong this year, especially the last few weeks. They're starting to figure out what works for Bo Nix with the weapons around him in this offense. And it helps when you play an LSU defense that's not very good. Let's be fair. It helps when you play an Ole Miss defense that is not very good.
Absolutely.
But you're starting to see different plays, different player usage. You're starting to see Pegues, the 300-pound tight end, get some plays. It seems like it's turning a little bit of a corner. I want to stay in the Deep South, but I want to switch conferences real quick.
Okay.
Clemson needing a rally because they were down 18 in the first half before coming back and picking up the win with the backup quarterback DJ, I cannot pronounce his
Nope,
last name.
not even going to try.
Not even going to try it.
He is a really good player, though.
Travis Etienne becomes the leading rusher of all time in ACC history, but Clemson has not had a scare like that in the regular season in 2 or 3 years.
Probably since you and I were both in South Bend, Indiana, for the Syracuse game.
Yeah, that might have been the last time they had a real close scare.
No, and also this is a Boston College team that we've kind of followed throughout the year that is a good team. They're not a good program yet. They're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
A very tough-nosed team. This is not your father's Boston College, though. This isn't the Steve Adazio running 3 clouds of dust and we're just going to bloody your nose and take our 14-point loss. No, this is this is a Boston College team that can put up some points. And good on Clemson to hold them to 28, I guess. But that was all in the first half, though. Yeah.
Boston College, let's make no mistake.
Yeah.
Boston College blew that football game.
They did.
There were a lot of second half penalties that just kept giving Clemson opportunity after opportunity when Boston College had stops.
No, Boston College had this game 28-13 at the half, and then could muster drives here and there, but again, just like you said, penalties crippled the Eagles throughout the second half, and Clemson escapes and gets to play another day without Trevor Lawrence this week against the Irish.
One other real quick from last week before we switch over, another big upset in the top 10. We mentioned last week, is Oklahoma State the Big 12's chance to make the playoff?
Yeah, they were.
Well, yeah, they were. And then Tom Herman does what Tom Herman does, which is win as an underdog.
Yeah.
Now that he's going to be a favorite at home against West Virginia this week, he probably loses again.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, it probably will. But this week, gets the win on the road. Texas in overtime, 41-34. We were talking about that OSU defense last week, and they did not show up.
Hold on. Or did they? Did they show up? Because let me take you inside the numbers, Mr. Tillery.
Okay.
You are talking about a team.
Granted, I was watching Auburn more at this same time slot, and I was also semi-drunk from being happy and delirious.
Right. So, okay.
I was making a brisket. So
I will give you I will give you what the stats are, and you tell me which team won. One team gained 530 yards of total offense. The other gained 287 yards.
Oh, God.
One team, that same team, well, this is just bad, went 3 of 12 on third down. The second team went 2 of 15 on third down.
Oh, God.
Let's see here. Time of possession. This is my other favorite. That first team that gained 530 yards of total offense also had 32 first downs to the other team's 17.
So I also am now digging into the box score.
Uh-huh.
And you're right.
Because
Texas also committed 13 penalties for 142 yards.
Yes, they did.
The turnover margin is the difference in this game.
Absolutely. Oh, glaring.
4-0. That's the difference in this football game.
Yes, three fumbles, all lost by the Cowboys. Texas actually put the ball on the ground twice.
Like I said,
picked them both up.
Admittedly, I did not watch much of that football game.
Oh, neither did I.
But wow, I didn't realize it was that on the box score. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you did show up Oklahoma State. Your offense just kind of choked it away for you. Got it. Okay,
yeah. No,
good.
This was what happens when the Mullets offense gets a little bit too cute and thinks that they can do stuff because it's Texas and a lot of the eyes of Texas are upon them.
No, they don't play that here anymore.
Yeah, no, we don't. And the offense just got too cute. And then finally Texas got a sack to finish off the game. But no, the Oklahoma State defense showed up per se. The offense just kept putting them in bad positions. It was a lot like the Auburn-Kentucky game, if you will.
Yeah.
Kind of for the second half when Auburn was able to stretch out the lead just a little bit.
So let's go ahead and look at this week. Pac-12 comes back. We are getting coast-to-coast football for the first time this year. I think we're both in agreement that Oregon is the favorite of the Pac-12 to take that thing down.
I feel pretty safe in doing that.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to win the South. Like Pac-12 South, I pick a team. Utah, maybe?
Arizona State. I'll take it. You give me Herm, and I feel pretty good.
I mean, at this point, I have no clue. what's going to happen in the Pac-12 South.
I know that we're recording right now during it, but let's welcome back the Maction. Let's give the Maction just a little.
So happy.
Just
the moment we're done recording, I'm going to go watch Maction
those
tonight.
weird the Hug and Step Brothers where they don't know how to hug, pushing them away and smacking them. Welcome back, Maction.
Start with Friday night in our first pick game. By the way, last week I went 2-3. You also went 2-3. Different picks as far as which games we missed and which games we got right. I had more faith in Auburn than you did. I had too much faith in Penn State. They got me by a point. Actually, it was only a point. They missed that spread. Wow. Yeah, the spread was 12. So you are an even 19-19-1 on the year against the spread. I am 20-18-1. We're both still sitting on 2 for upset special correct pictions. And remember, we got rules for the upset special. You got to have at least 5 or 6 point spread there for us to be able to touch it.
Yeah.
So the first game we're going to talk about this week, and it's actually in our pick'em, Friday night. Let's go to the land of potatoes.
Potatoes.
Because number 9, BYU, is taking on number 21, Boise State on the Smurf turf. BYU is a 3-point favorite.
So this is probably BYU's toughest game of the year.
8th game of the year as well.
Yes. They have played the foosball this year out there in Provo. I haven't seen a whole lot of Boise State this year. The only time that I have was when the punter punted one literally off the back of one of his up men. That's all I've seen of Boise this year for good reason, because I don't know if you followed the Mountain West, Brad, lately. It's Boise and everybody else. And I'm not talking about where this is our father's Mountain West Conference, where
TCU and some other.
Not even that, but where Colorado State was good and San Diego State was a very pesky team. No, recruiting rankings have plummeted in that league for whatever reason. So there's just not a whole lot of real interesting matchups in the Mountain West. I've got to lean BYU just because of the known commodity that they are. I think they're a good football team. I don't know. I don't think they're on the same level as Cincinnati. I think if Cincinnati somehow loses, I think BYU moves up into that group of 5, I guess.
Yeah.
You can do that because they're actually an independent. So I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, it would. No, BYU's in the Mountain West.
No,
you're talking about BYU. Sorry, yeah. I'm screwed up, right? You're right.
You're fine. So I don't know if that would filter into the highest ranked non-group of 5 or Power 5 team, I guess.
Possible.
I don't see them getting into the playoff just because of their schedule and who they've played. Literally, this is the only team with a true pulse.
I feel bad for BYU because their schedule was a murderer's row this year.
It really was.
Oh, my gosh.
It really was. It was a tough slate because they were playing teams like Troy, Navy.
Oh, no. Their real schedule. The pre-COVID.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Their pre-COVID schedule was
open with Oregon, or
they were going to play Michigan State this year.
Right. That's who it was.
They were going to play. I think there's several teams on the East Coast. They were playing everybody. There's Pac-12 teams on the schedule. It was brutal.
It was a legit schedule, and I would have loved to have seen this team go up against that in a normal year. Just another thing that 2020 has taken from us. But I have to go with BYU just because they're the known commodity. I'll give the 3 to Boise because I see this more as a 4 to 7 point game.
Yeah.
I just think BYU's the better team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think BYU wins. Same thought process, just a better team. And what I expect there. I think it's going to be a heck of a football game, though. But they'll cover the 3. Just real quick to finish my thought. This was BYU's original schedule.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Pre-COVID.
All right, hit me with it.
At Utah, home against Michigan State, at Arizona State, at Minnesota, home against Utah State, then home against Mizzou, Houston at home, on the road to Northern Illinois, which is a sneaky tough game in the MAC.
Yeah, you don't go into DeKalb and just pick up a win.
The originally scheduled game at Boise this week, and then the schedule lightens up before the end of the year when they beat Stanford on the road as well.
Oh,
that's brutal.
That's a murderer's row.
And credit them for scheduling that, and I feel bad that they lost that schedule.
I do. I am too, because I mean, with don't get me wrong, I'm interested in 9 out of those 10. Maybe Utah State's the only one that I'm like, eh. But I'm really interested in that Northern Illinois game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, there is another game on Friday. There's 2 other games on Friday night, but one you should keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of interest. Starting at 7:30 Eastern time. Miami's on the road taking on Mr. Wolfie.
Mr. Wolfie.
That's that could be interesting.
That's a sneaky, interesting game.
It's one to keep an eye on.
Miami will win it, I think. But NC State's been playing good football. That's a 4-2 NC State football team.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the record.
Mm-hmm. Line 10.5 in that game, by the way. So we'll go on to Saturday, and we'll start in the Big Ten. Michigan, you're still ranked somehow. How the hell you're ranked above Michigan State, I don't know.
That's why polls are stupid.
It's just stupid. I'm sorry. It's egregious. You have the same damn record. You beat them. You lost on the field to them last week. You should not be ranked above them.
Insubordinate and churlish.
But you're somehow a 3.5-point favorite on the road in Indiana this week.
Which let's call it what it is. I'm not sure how good Indiana is. I think they're good. We're going to find out this week because it's going to be real man ball this week, I think. I think this is a really tough football game that Michigan won't win.
I see what you did there.
I don't think Michigan has a prayer in this one. Because you just don't go into Bloomington and get a dub.
Especially not with 50 people in the stands.
No.
No.
You just don't do that with the hand of God football.
Yeah.
It's on the pylon, trust me. I know you can't see it. It's on the pylon. But I will take all 3 of those points. I can't make it my upset special.
Too small.
Too small. Too tiny. Boy, if I had $1. But I just think the Hoosiers are a better football team than Michigan. I still don't know how good Indiana is. I hope to find out soon. But because they've beaten Rutgers and they sort of beat Penn State, I think. I'm pretty sure they did from what I saw.
Yeah.
But I know Michigan lost to Michigan State.
I'm with you. I think there's a hangover effect, and I think IU wins.
Look at you.
That Minnesota game looks worse and worse.
Uh-huh.
Give me Indiana at home.
Yeah.
I'll take the Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Right now. No questions asked. We're not going to predict Pac-10 games just because our Pac-12 games, because we just haven't seen them yet. I still wish it was the Pac-10.
I wish.
It's not because we don't want to, folks. We just haven't seen them yet, and kind of want to get a weekend.
I'll watch them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else? It's the big noon kickoff this week out on the West Coast at 9 a.m. local time. Is Gus Johnson even going to be excited for that at that early in the morning?
Well, I mean, if he is Gus live or is he at home?
I don't know. That's a good call.
Because if he's at home,
maybe.
But if he has to fly out to Tempe,
no, the game's in L.A.
Oh God!
9 a.m. in L.A., man.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's. I don't. Have you spent much time in L.A. before outside of the Rose Bowl?
No, that was the only time that I've been to L.A. is I got yelled at by a homeless person with donuts.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go downtown. It's even more fun.
Yeah.
So as you know, I spend about a week a year in LA for work, typically. And sometimes more than that. Not my favorite city in the world.
No.
Don't particularly like it. But at 9 a.m., the smog is still just awful.
Yeah.
Just awful. And I'm sitting here just thinking about that aspect of it, going, this is just going to be terrible. And I've been to a game at the Coliseum, by the way. I went to that 2002 Auburn game at the Coliseum. I was there on Labor Day night. That was my first ever trip to Los Angeles.
It's my first game as a student.
So I remember. This is the thing I vividly remember about that game. Besides us having a chance to win and losing, whatever.
Thanks, Charles.
Was we got there at noon for a 6 o'clock local kickoff, 5 o'clock local kickoff. It wasn't that late. So, it's whatever. And the parking lots were closed, and we actually got asked, "Why are you here already?"
There's a game today.
Yeah. And I know there's no tailgating this year with anybody because COVID and whatever else.
This is 18 years ago.
But nobody was showing up on an off day. Remember, this is Labor Day. So no one really is working. You should have been able to go to the game. Who the hell's going to show up to this game if they allow people? And I don't think California is allowing people in the first place.
I don't think so.
But it's not even just who's going to show up. Who's going to watch it? On the West Coast.
Out there? Nobody. Why?
That's my point.
This was a very, I don't know does Fox have another game on Saturday? Or did they just?
I think they chose that to tout the Big Ten being back, the Pac-12 being back.
They do.
Jesus.
So get this. They're forcing USC and Arizona State to kick off at 9 a.m. local time.
Yeah.
Then they're turning around and making Oklahoma State and Kansas State play at 3.
They're putting Michigan and Indiana on FS1 at the same time. So you couldn't have put that Oklahoma State game on FS1 at early in the morning and let the West Coast teams kick off at noon.
Yeah,
local
at least
time
give
out
them
there.
a chance.
Good God, that's awful.
That's sad.
And I know that there has been a push, by the way, in the Pac-12. There has been a push by some coaches to play early to get more national exposure because they feel like they're being left out of national conversations. That could be part of this.
Okay.
That could be part of this. But even still, play at 2:30, man.
Yeah.
Like that's 12:30 local time. Play more of your games during that time slot.
Yeah, get the noon kickoff.
Play the 6 or 6:30 games. That's 4 o'clock your local time. That's perfect.
It's perfect.
You don't need to play at 11 a.m.
No, you don't need or 9 a.m.
Yeah. In the SEC, you know what we call an 11 a.m. kickoff? Breakfast.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to play that early. It sucks.
It's breakfast tailgate.
Nobody wants to play.
Bloody Marys all around.
We prefer night games.
Yeah.
People on the East Coast want to, hang out.
Yeah.
So I've never understood the Big Ten's fascination when playing at noon Eastern time.
No.
Never understood. Even when I lived there, I was like, why are you so excited to play at noon? This makes no sense to me. Anyway, that's my rant right now.
There we go.
So this is not my upset special. This is my second upset special. I got 2 this week.
You got dose.
I got 2 this week. Also at 11 a.m. Central Time.
Okay.
Hidden on the ACC network. Give me Liberty or give me death.
Oh!
Go on the road to Virginia Tech. Liberty's a 14.5-point dog, and they win this game outright, Drew.
Liberty. You're taking the Fighting Hugh Freezes.
I very much am.
That is an impressive call, my friend.
I think Liberty wins that football game. It's not my official pick for my upset specials.
It's not. Well, in that case, I'm going to make my official pick because it's just a couple of spots around on my scoreboard. We were talking earlier about Texas and how Tom Herman got the first upset. Let me see if I can get this right. The first true road win for Texas over a top 10 team since 2010. Tom Herman went out and got that. This week he is going to lose as a ranked team to West Virginia.
Makes sense. That's Tom Herman for you.
That will happen. Going ahead and lock it. Stone cold lock of the century of the week. West Virginia is getting 6 and a hook. I will take the money line on that.
I don't disagree. My actual upset special pick is also a noon kickoff on the East Coast, so I'll just go ahead and give it since we're in that time slot right now. Somehow, Michigan State is a 6.5-point underdog to Iowa this week. The same Iowa that lost to Northwestern.
Nah.
What am I missing?
Nope.
What the hell am I missing in that game?
Other than the fact that Iowa's at home, maybe.
I don't see it.
I don't either.
Iowa State. Sorry, not Iowa.
Yeah,
they played 2 close games. Okay, fine. Okay, they lost to Purdue by 4, and they lost to Northwestern by 1. Yeah. But you lost them both. Uh-huh. And I'm telling you right now, Michigan State is better than both of those programs.
Yeah, and I know that we've been just dogging Michigan, but Michigan's also better than Northwestern and Purdue.
Yep. Let's get down. We only got a few more games to talk about this week, but we want to talk about the big ranked games. First win, I don't care what they call it now. It's the cocktail party.
It's cocktail party.
The world's largest outdoor cocktail party is happening down in Jacksonville, and it's more than likely the SEC East Championship game. Let's be real here. 3-1, ranked number 8 in the country, Florida. They're going to take on 4-1, ranked number 5 in the country, Georgia. The Dogs are a 3.5-point favorites. You grew up near it, right in between the rivalry.
Yeah,
you know it more than most. You grew up right on the Florida-Georgia line.
I did. I am in a key.
Literally, to get to your family's lake house, you have to drive through Florida to get back into Georgia.
Well, no. You have to go in. You have to exit in Georgia and then drive down to Florida.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
that's right. Other way around.
Yeah, it was confusing. I just remember I got lost as hell. That's all I remember.
Absolutely. No dirt roads and everything like that. No, I grew up in it since this is an election episode, I guess you could say. I grew up in a battleground of the Florida-Georgia rivalry, which I do call it the Florida-Georgia game.
Yeah, there were a lot of Florida shirts when I was down there last year for the Florida game with Auburn, in that area of Georgia. There were.
No, it is a very interesting area. It's predominantly I grew up in Valdosta. It's predominantly Georgia with a little bit of Florida State, but Florida's probably the second or third team in the Valdosta, Lowndes County area. So no, this is one where I grew up 90 minutes from Jacksonville. Know the city very, very well. Know the landing in that area. Yep. Used to go to vacation and go to the beach at Amelia Island, where
I've been there.
Beautiful, beautiful area. Used to have a beach house there. But this year it's a very interesting way. As a watcher of both Florida and Georgia, just because why wouldn't I? I was very perturbed by what happened in Gainesville this past week with the fight with Missouri. I thought Dan Mullen completely showed his ass.
Not uncommon for him.
Not uncommon for him. I'm not shocked by that at all. And I'm sort of disappointed in the league that they didn't take stronger action towards him for his actions because those were I just thought it was unbecoming of a head coach. I'm interested to see what's going to happen this week with this game because Georgia's defense has been ravaged by injury and suspension. And, oh, by the way, Florida's got a couple of suspensions for players for at least a half of this game coming up. I think Florida's offense is better than Georgia's offense, but I also think Georgia's defense is better than Florida's defense. But I think they are better than Georgia's offense, Florida's defense, that is, to stop them more. My question is going to be, can Kyle Trask make enough completions to make – he doesn't have to be Mac Jones. He doesn't have to do what Alabama did. He just has to hope that his defense can stop Georgia enough. I'm thinking 17 points. If he can hold Georgia to 17 points, which don't get me wrong, that Kentucky-Georgia game was
slugfest.
It was
ugly.
We are going to run the football. We have agreed to there will be no passes in this game. We are just going to run the football. We've done that pregame. So I'm interested to see if Florida can stop them. I'm going to go Florida here. I really do believe Florida can get the dub. Just because I don't think Stetson Bennett is the quarterback that can beat teams like Auburn and he can beat teams like Kentucky. He's going to do enough to allow you to win, but he's not going to go out there and wow you to win. I think that Auburn game was just Auburn thinking that they could roll the helmets on the field for whatever reason and get a win against Stetson Bennett. But I don't see Todd Grantham taking him lightly. I think he'll have a plan for him.
I took Florida at the beginning of the year to win the SEC East.
You did.
I'm not backing off on that.
Oh, look at him. Stay strong.
Yeah.
Stoked for your team.
I'm with you in the fact that I don't like the way Mullen did his thing last week.
Oh, God.
I'm not a fan of his. I don't like him as a coach.
No.
Don't really like him as a human, as what I've seen. It's much, to be honest with you.
Nope.
But I just think he's going to be able to put enough points up to where Georgia can't keep up. It's a similar situation in the Bama game. Georgia's going to score points, but not enough to keep up. And there are holes in that Georgia defense. Yeah. It's good.
It's a real good defense.
There's
probably
holes.
The best in the SEC.
But there are holes.
There are holes. And Alabama pointed them out.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if Florida's got the playmakers to do the same thing that Bama did. Mm-hmm. I don't know that anybody does, really. But
I don't think so.
I think Florida wins. So give me the 3.5. But I'll probably take the money line here. Not with crazy amount of confidence.
No.
So, no. So
I might just take the points and live to play again. But
yeah.
But I think Florida wins.
One other game we want to hit on real quick before we wrap up the show. It is the biggest game of the weekend. It's weird when you say 8 versus 5 is not the biggest game of the weekend. But we got to go to South Bend and look at the ACC because number 1 Clemson, after struggling last week against Boston College, goes and takes on the Domers, ranked number 4 in the country. This may be, in the regular season, the shortest favorite Clemson has been in years. They're only a 5.5-point favorite. I need to know that number because I actually don't know the last time they were this short as they're in the regular season.
It would have had to have been when Jimbo was at FSU. It would have to be one of those games.
It's been a long time.
Because I can't think that Auburn in 2017 was that close because it was an early season game. We didn't know what.
I think that was a touchdown or so.
Yeah, that might have been 7-10 or 8 points, 7-8 points.
Turned out to be an 8-point game in the anyway. That's the way that worked out.
Which, but anyways, going back to the game, until I'm proven otherwise, I have to continue to take Clemson. I just don't. Ian Book's a great quarterback. The defense for Florida State, for Notre Dame, has been playing well. But, and this is very weird to say because it's Clemson and we're two historical guys. I don't know if the lights have been bright like this for Notre Dame playing a Clemson. Clemson has seen this before. They've been here. They played in a national championship last year. They played in probably the best game of 2019 in that Ohio State game, the game before that. Even though Joe Burrow I'm still having dreams about Joe Burrow and that cigar after the game, and some of the stuff that he was able to do. I've got to think that Dabo has the troops ready for this game. I think that this is a 7-point game for Clemson. I just have no reason to doubt the Tigers right now. While I do have a few questions about Notre Dame, I know you a couple of weeks ago said this is a really, really good Notre Dame team, and I agree with you that they are. But I just have to go with Clemson.
I like the Irish straight up.
I thought that you would.
Yeah, I this is one of those weird things. I think the Irish win this week. I think Clemson wins the rematch later this year when Trevor Lawrence is back under center.
Yeah, I see that.
And that to me is the biggest key. Trevor Lawrence is not under center this week, and you're asking a quarterback who has 1 game of experience to go in and play a very good defense in Notre Dame.
Very true.
On the road. Okay,
very true.
I don't. And Notre Dame's not the most intimidating place as far as stadiums go in the first place, even when it's full. We've been there.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's a very nice stadium.
I liked it a lot.
I can see how it gets loud.
Amazing sight lines as far as just like
the
stadium. Like
not a bad seat in the house.
Fantastic. We were sitting near the top of the stadium and it was great. But
right behind the flag.
That was actually the worst part. Was the flag was in the way.
The flag was for a little
flagpole. Which why do you put the flagpole in the middle of the stadium like that?
I got a whole rim of the stadium that you can just put that.
Put it outside. You can still see the flag.
I can turn around.
It's fine. But I think Notre Dame pulls this game out. That's going to be close. I don't think they're going to run away with it. But I think this is one of those Notre Dame wins. Clemson really doesn't get punished in the polling by the playoff committee, and they'll come back and beat Notre Dame in a few weeks down in Charlotte. All will be forgiven. And both of them may make the playoff off of that basis.
Yeah. No, if that happens, I think you're looking at your 4 teams in Alabama, Ohio State, and these two. If that scenario plays out.
I lied because I missed this earlier. There is one more game. It's a quickie. We're just going to do quick picks. We're not going to go in-depth analysis. Tennessee, a 1.5-point favorite at Arkansas.
Interesting ball game. I think Jared Garantano is a turnover machine. I'll take Arkansas.
I'm on the Hogs too. Call them. Call the Hogs. And give the Pit Boss his 3rd win of the season.
Yes, sir.
Arkansas, I think, could finish 4-6.
No, you're looking at one of the biggest surprises in the SEC.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, man, that's going to wrap it up for this week. A really good weekend of football, folks. We've been telling you for a while, for a few weeks now, wait till November. It's going to get really good. And this week, you've got 4 games ranked top 25 versus top 25 teams starting on Friday night. And then 2 of them in the top 10. Top 10 matchups. So it's going to be fun. We get our bye week for our Auburn team, so we can kind of hang out and
enjoy football.
We're going to enjoy football and also, probably go to Home Depot or something. Maybe get a nice little Saturday. It's fine. Bed Bath & Beyond, see what's happening.
Just the whole thing.
And settle in for the rest of the season. Any thoughts before we leave, my friend?
Nope. Just everybody be safe out there. Wear your mask. Let's try not to spread this thing any more than it already is. And yeah, just be safe and say hi to somebody that you haven't said hey to in a while. Because it's that time of the year when we can invite friends back over and into our lives.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if some maybe shots are fired on the Fort Sumter in the next few weeks. Who knows?
Just like
for Drew, I am Brad. Thanks so much for listening in, guys. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook. On Twitter at FOT Podcast. Same on Instagram at FOT Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube by searching Friends of the Program. Same for Spotify and iTunes. We'll talk to you again next week.